Tonight on Retro Rides Garage, we chase the 10 wildest cars you won't find by 2030. And this is not clickbait. We're talking about machines with tiny build numbers, surging auction results, and owners who lock keys in vaults. If you have ever dreamed of a black stealth turbo from the 80s, an aluminum-bodied homologation hero, or a shrieking V10 that climbs to 9,000, this is your wake-up call. We break down why these cars are vanishing, from emissions and noise rules, to scarce parts, to off-market deals that move cars straight from trailer to vault. We will also talk real-world asking prices versus hammer prices, the gap between glossy listings and what cars actually trade for, and why clean history matters more than raw miles. You will get quick decode tips for tags, stampings, and build sheets, plus red flags for repaint lines, restamps, and 2 perfect photos that hide the truth. You will hear what to inspect, which options change value, and how to spot the difference between a real survivor and a shiny clone. We are not here to push panic. We are here to give you a plan. We will stack options by importance, explain which colors and transmissions change demand, and show smart ways to budget for inspections, fluids, tires, and transport. We will even share a simple checklist for storage and gentle warm-ups so your car stays healthy if you buy and hold. Think clear tips, clean facts, and the reality that great cars do not wait for slow buyers. Before we roll, tap like if you want more honest buyer guides, subscribe if you love analog steering and real pedals, and drop a comment with a one ghost you still want to drive. Tap the bell if you want alerts when we drop new buyer guides, and share this with a friend who keeps saying one day. Stay to the end for a checklist you can screenshot before your next pre-purchase inspection. We will cover tall wings and shaker hoods, 5-speed doglegs, and simple 6 speeds, and translate auction talk into real choices. Every pick has a reason, and every claim is backed by research. If your goal is to own one before values escape orbit, this episode gives you the map, the red flags, and the green lights. Ready to hunt before 2030 arrives? This is Retro Rides Garage, and these are the 10 wildest cars to buy now while you still can. The Lexus LFA is the modern halo car that slipped into legend while most people were sleeping. Only 500 cars left the factory, built around a carbon fiber reinforced shell, and powered by a hand-built 4.8-liter V10 that Yamaha helped tune for tone and response. It spins to 9,000 RPM with clean, razor-bright voice, and the digital touch was used because the engine climbs so fast. A quick 6-speed single-clutch gearbox, tight steering, and huge brakes make every input feel wired in. Inside you get leather, Alcantara, and real metal, plus seats that hold you without punishing you. Maintenance is not scary when the car is used and worn correctly, yet owners rarely rack up miles because they know what they have. Auction data keeps creeping up, dealers hide the best cars off-market, and many released new and then kept by collectors for long-term storage. Emissions rules and noise limits will not kill the LFA, scarcity and hoarding will. If you want one that is original, serviced, and with clean history, start hunting now and move fast, because by 2030 you will not find one driving on a random weekend. Nürburgring package cars are rarer still, with added aero, shorter gearing, and a small power bump. Examples trade quietly to museums and collections now. The Dodge Viper ACR is the last word in old-school American track focus. A street-legal special that feels like a race car the moment the belts click. A huge manually shifted 8.4-liter V10 sits up front, the 6-speed box is heavy but honest, and the long hood and side pipes make every start feel like a pit lane launch. The ACR package brings adjustable aero with a towering rear wing, a splitter and underbody work, coil-over suspension, and big 2-piece rotors that hold up during long sessions. It is loud, hot, and demanding in traffic, yet at speed it settles and talks to you, and that is why magazines and pros set lap records with it at famous tracks. Production was low by any measure, and many cars were kept as toys with delivery miles, so the available pool keeps shrinking as collectors lock them away. Future emissions and noise rules do not target it directly, but the supply of clean cars will dry up as parts age and the best examples stay off market. If you want the raw manual experience with real downforce and no filters, this is the window. Find a car with clean history, stock aero, fresh tires, and recent fluids, and be ready to wire funds, because the next chance could be years away, and by 2030 you will not see one roaming Main Street. Demand is rising fast. The 2005 to 2006 Ford GT is the purest modern link to Le Mans glory, a supercharged V8 and a 6-speed manual wrapped in aluminum and simple lines that still stop a crowd. It was built in limited numbers, and most cars were sold to enthusiasts who kept miles low. So the market today revolves around careful history and originality. The 5.4-liter engine makes big torque everywhere, the clutch is friendly once warm, and the steering communicates in a way many new exotics forgot. No dual clutch, no hybrid, just a clean supercar that rewards smooth inputs and real practice, and that is exactly why values have trended up for a decade. Service matters on these cars, especially the supercharger belt, fluids, and the bushings and dampers that age with time more than miles. Clean paint, unmodified wheels, and factory glass are huge because replacements are expensive, and the rear clamshell is its own world. Find a car with paperwork, a clear title, and the original books and keys, and budget for a pre-purchase inspection by a shop that knows the platform. Move fast if you want one on your street, because collectors and museums are already tucking away the best examples, and by 2030, they will rarely come out to play. Heritage Edition blue-orange cars draw crowds, and values rise up. The 1987 Buick GNX is the ultimate stealth muscle from the 80s. Black paint only, no stripes, and a wall of torque that feels like a freight train. Exactly 547 cars were built, each completed by ASC and McLaren with a larger turbo, a more efficient intercooler, freer breathing exhaust, and a torque arm rear suspension that helps the car hook without will hop. The heart is a 3.8-liter turbo V6 with a factory oil cooler and smart control for the era. Boost rises fast, then the car surges forward with a deep whoosh. Every GNX used a 4-speed automatic, selected on purpose to keep the turbo in its sweet spot and to deliver repeatable launches. Fender vents, wider black wheels, and Stewart Warner gauges set it apart from a normal Grand National, while the ride remains calm enough for daily use. Period tests recorded 0 to 60 in the low 5-second range and quarter-mile times in the low 13ths on stock tires, numbers that embarrass big V8s. Many cars were stored from new and clean examples today live quiet lives in private collections with low miles and paperwork. Unmodified cars with original paint and correct tags bring strong results at auction because parts are specific and hard to replace. The pool is small, demand is wide, and that is why by 2030 you will almost never stumble across a pristine GNX at a random meet. If you're shopping, verify the dash plaque, the correct rear suspension pieces, the original wheels and tires, and service records. Find one that boosts cleanly, shifts crisply, and does not show signs of abuse, then be ready to act, because the best cars move quietly from one vault to another and price curve isn't slowing. The first-gen Acura NSX, the 1991 to 1996 cars, is the cleanest expression of a usable supercar. Mid-engine balance, aluminum structure, and daily manners. The engine is a 3.0-liter V6 with Honda's VTEC variable valve timing, mounted transversely behind the seats with intake noise that wakes above 5,000 RPM. Most cars use the closed ratio 5-speed manual with a light clutch and precise gates. A 4-speed automatic existed, but collectors want 3 pedals. Ayrton Senna provided development input during testing, and the result is simple: clear steering, faithful brakes, and a chassis that stays neutral when driven cleanly. Body panels are aluminum, the cabin sits low but airy, and sight lines beat many exotics with pop-up headlamps. In 1995, the NSX-T arrived with a removable roof. Some like the open air, but solid roof coupes drive sharper. Reliability is a key draw, yet age still matters. Coolant hoses, timing belt service, suspension bushings, and window regulators need care. Clean factory wheels are costly to replace. Many cars were modified, so the best survivors are stock, well documented, and still wear original finish and interior trim. Auction results are rising for low-mile manuals in red, black, or silver, and JDM right-hand drive cars now compete for the same buyers in the US. If you want one, check for records, cold AC, smooth synchros, healthy VTEC engagement, and no rust around battery or subframes. By 2030, the pool of honest, unmolested examples will be thin as museums and private collectors tuck them away, because the car delivers what new machines often miss: lightweight, feedback, and a real manual. Records matter more than miles. The BMW M3 E30 is the classic homologation special that still feels alive on a back road. Built from 1986 to 1991 to win in Group A and DTM racing, it wears box flares, a high trunk lid, and wind-tuned bumpers. Under the hood sits the S14, a 2.3-liter 4 with a twin-cam head. It loves revs up high and stays tractable down low. A 5-speed manual with a dogleg first keeps ratios tight. Steering feel is the point, light off center, then building weight as the front tires load. Brakes are strong, the seating suits heel and toe, and the chassis begs you to link corners smoothly. Thousands were built, yet far fewer survive stock. Many were tuned for track use and wear hard miles now. That is why collectors hunt cars with factory paint, correct panels, and original wheels and trim. The engine uses a timing chain. Service focuses on valve adjustments, throttle body balance, intake boots and fluids. Bushings and rear subframe mounts need attention as they age. Evo, Evo 2, and Sport Evo versions are rarer with subtle aero and engine upgrades. Clean examples trade quietly for serious money. If you are shopping, check for cold starts without smoke, smooth shifting when warm, straight panel gaps, and clear records from shops that know the car. Rust at the windshield frame, jacking points, and rear arches can hide under trims, so look closely. By 2030, most great cars will live in private fleets, and the few drivers on the street will be preserved by careful owners who accept it for what it is, a scalpel, not a sledgehammer, and a very honest M-car. Good alignment and fresh tires sharpen response and keep originality. The Mercedes-Benz 190e 2.516 Evolution 2 is a street-born race tool. Built in 1990 for DTM homologation, exactly 502 cars left the line with flared arches, a tower-like rear wing, deeper bumpers, and underbody pieces for downforce. The 2.5-liter 4 uses a Cosworth head and loves revs. Output rose over the Evolution 1 with a shorter final drive and closer ratios. Most cars used a 5-speed get-rag, and the chassis gained stiffer springs, thicker bars, and rear self-leveling to keep the tail planted. Steering stays clear, the brakes remain honest after heat, and the aero was wind tunnel tuned so the car tracks straight at speed. Inside you get firm seats, a small wheel, and sober trim. It behaves like a compact sedan until the cams wake. Many parts are Evolution specific, from intake and exhaust to wider wheels, which makes crash repairs costly and correct cars prized. Because only a few hundred exist, many live in private storage, and the few that surface carry records. Watch for panel originality, the correct rear wing, the numbered badge, and factory booklets. Service should show fluids, a sound timing chain, valve work when due, and fresh bushings. Numbers matching cars with original paint and glass move first, while modified builds sit. Values have pushed up across Europe, Japan, and the US as fans chase analog touring car magic. For a driver, look for smooth, cold idle, very clean throttle response, tight shifts, and no rust at the jacking points or arches. By 2030, it will be rare to spot an Evolution 2 on a weekend cruise, because museums and very serious collectors already treat them as the last great small Benz with race blood. The 1969 Chevrolet Camaro ZL1 COPO is a rule-bending factory special built so racers could buy a drag car at a dealer. Only 69 were made under COPO 9560, each with an all-aluminum 427 cubic inch ZL1 big block rated at 430 horsepower on paper, but known to make more. The light block cut nose weight and survived repeated passes. Cars received heavy-duty cooling, tough driveline parts, and deep axle ratios. Buyers chose a close ratio 4-speed or a strong 3-speed automatic. Because the option cost more than the base car, many sat unsold, then moved to enthusiasts who treated them like weapons in art. Today, authenticity is everything. Real chassis numbers, correct stampings, and uncut panels decide values, and original paint or interior multiplies interest. Period tests saw quarter-mile runs in the 11s with slicks and tuning, while stock tires spun. The look is clean and almost plain. No giant wing, just a cowl hood and a stance that hints at intent. A true ZL1 feels rare because it is. Most owners warm the car and tuck it away. Maintenance focuses on fuel quality, timing, and fluids, since unique parts are scarce and errors are costly. Clones abound, so buyers should verify every tag, weld, and casting with an expert. That work pays off, because the best cars now trade in private and vanish into collections. By 2030, you will not hunt one at a random meet. You will scroll past a quiet headline about a record sale. If your dream is the most outrageous small label, Chevrolet, the COPO ZL1 remains the king, a thin run of road-legal thunder built for people who dream in quarter miles. The 1970 Plymouth Superbird is the cartoon come to life that earned its wind tunnel stripes. Built for NASCA rules, it added a pointed nose cone and tall rear wing to a Roadrunner shell, plus underbody tweaks that keep it stable. Total production stayed under 2,000, and Hemi cars were only a small slice, which is why most people have never seen one outside a show. Engines included the 444-barrel, the 446-barrel with 3 carbs, and the 426 Hemi with deep lungs and a hard idle. The wings sat high, so the deck lid could open, and its feet tied into the frame rails, making it more than decoration. Front fenders and hood were unique, and the nose carried hidden headlamps that sealed tight. On the street, it is long, wide, and surprisingly calm. Sight lines are better than expected. Many cars sat on dealer lots because insurance costs and wild looks scared buyers, and a few were converted back to plain noses. Collectors chase original panels, correct nose parts, and factory stampings. Colors like lemon twist and tour red draw crowds, but originality beats repaint. A proper car should have clean frame rails, smooth gaps, and paperwork tying numbers to the body. Mechanically, fresh fluids and careful carb tuning keep them happy, and the cooling system must be right for slow parades. Because supply is tiny and demand is global, the best examples trade quietly and then disappear for years. By 2030, you will not find a Hemi Superbird idling at a Cars and Coffee. You will see photos from an auction and hear it left the country. If you want one, start early, work with experts, and move fast, because the wildest wing car of the muscle era is not coming back. The 1970 Plymouth AA Arcuda is the street-bred link to Trans Am glory, a one-year model build so Plymouth could race with Dan Gurney's All-American racers. Production was about 2,724 built, and every car left with a 346-barrel V8 breathing through 3 2-barrel carbs, factory rated at 290 horsepower but known to pull harder. A molded fiberglass hood with a forward scoop, matte black paint, and hood pins feed cool air. Side exit exhaust dump ahead of the rear wheels aft. Suspension pieces were specific, with heavy-duty springs, quick ratio steering, and a rake stance that sits higher at the rear to clear the staggered tires. Factory polyglass sizes were E60-15 up front and G60-15 at the back on 15-inch rally wheels. A ducktail spoiler and strobe stripes with AA Arcuda down the sides mark the package, while high-impact colors shout attitude. Buyers chose a 4-speed manual or a Torque Flight automatic, and sure grip diffs with 3.55 or 3.91 gears were common. Today, correctness drives value. Original fenders, the unique hood, proper exhaust tips, and an uncut trunk floor matter, as do broadcast sheets and matching stampings. Many cars were cloned from base Cudas, so expert inspection pays. For driving, keep timing right, run fresh fuel, and warm the engine before you lean on the center carb. Because supply is fixed and demand keeps rising, clean stock cars are moving into collections. By 2030, the odds of spotting an AA Arcuda will be slim. If you want one, shop early, verify papers, and be ready to move when paperwork and the road test feel honest.